This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Duane Toews and Matt Perrier discuss the Anderson Creek fire and how, with help from the Kansas Livestock Foundation and the community, the producers affected were able to rebuild.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with Matt Perrier, Eureka, Kansas rancher, 2016 president of the Kansas Livestock Association. And Matt, as your tenure comes to a close, it's been an interesting year in the cattle business. In the state of Kansas in particular, we saw what good old-fashioned hard work and community building can do for ranchers when they're really in need.
Yes, it sure was. Back last spring, we had the Anderson Creek Wildfire, which, as nearly everyone knows, started in Oklahoma, blew through the south central Kansas regions of Comanche and Barber counties. While the fire was still going, actually, we had members, we had folks within the beef industry who were already calling our office, sending trucks down of everything from hay to fencing materials, labor, and asking what they could do to help. It was truly awe-inspiring to see a group that was ravaged by this fire come right out, get off the fire trucks that they were volunteering to help put the fire out, and go straight into sorting up cattle that had gotten mixed up because fences went down, hauling hay to other neighbors, and helping out at the co-op. Help came in from all over the nation, really, and in the end, the Kansas Livestock Foundation was able to step in and raise about $500,000, actually over $500,000, for the assistance, mainly with fence rebuilding costs, animal health costs that were incurred with those cattle that were affected by the fires, and distribute those to the ranchers in the affected areas this fall.
Certainly, we think about how a rural community can come together, and Kansas as a whole, Oklahoma and part of that as well, but to really step up and help a neighbor when they're out.
Yes, that was part of what I got the most gratification. Nobody was standing at the local feed store or the co-op or picketing Topeka or any place else asking for a handout. They went back to work. They did what they had to do to care for those cattle, to rebuild their fences and their lives. Meanwhile, people that hadn't even been notified or asked saw it on the news, heard about it through social media or phone calls from folks in the area, and were already doing everything they could and more to help these folks out in need. We've all been there when a tragedy occurs like that. We all know it could happen to us next time, and everybody stepped out and did everything they could to help.
Our thanks to Matt Perrier, 2016 president of the Kansas Livestock Association, joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.